Hello, my beautiful flower friends. I know it has been a while. I'll be sharing with you how I turned this fresh peony into this pressed peony. And before we go on, you might be thinking to yourself, oof, those petals are brown. And yes, you are right. So this one isn't going to be a tutorial. It will mostly be the things that I learned about pressing this peony and sharing that with you so that you have more success than I did. So let's get started. So this is actually my first time pressing peonies. And after this experience, I did some research and I learned a lot that I didn't know about peonies. And all the things that I've learned after this experience could have helped me and hopefully will help you have a higher chance of success. Basically, there are 3 types of peonies. There are the tree peonies, the herbaceous peonies, and the edo or intersectional peonies. And each of these categories have their own specific growing conditions and traits and characteristics that make it what it is. But we are going to be focusing on herbaceous peonies because that is a type that I will be pressing in this video. After searching forever on Google, I found out the type of peony that I was pressing specifically. And it's not this one. The photo is different than the type of peony that it labels it as. So mine isn't Charlie's White, mine is actually called Lady Liberty. Charlie's White and Lady Liberty, the peony that I was pressing, have basically the same anatomy. That is, they have staminodes at the centers. And that means that we are going to be dealing with a lot more petal-like structures than other varieties of peonies. Just something to keep in mind as I am pressing my specific peony. So let me tell you how I pressed mine. What I started off doing was taking some of the center petals out from the peony to hopefully thin it out. And you can see, because of the anatomy of this peony, there are so many petals. And maybe I could have had a higher chance of success if I did press it petal by petal, but that just would have been way too crazy. So I approached it by thinning out most of the petals so that I could press it whole, and also pressing the guard petals separate. Because those petals were larger, it was much more easier to manage pressing petal by petal. And this was what I was left with for the flower. I cut the peony from its stem and laid the flower as flat as possible in the press. I also pressed the leaves of the peony, and the condition in which these leaves are may give you another hint as to why my peonies turned out the way they did. These leaves were already wilting and not in the greatest condition to press. As for the stem, what I've been doing for all the flowers that I press, I've been cutting the stem in half. This just makes the stem easier to manage in the final pressing because it is thinner, and it also helps it dry much quicker. And this is the final result. I did have a lot of browning in the petals, and I think it was because of multiple things. Number one, Lady Liberty is an herbaceous peony, which means it is hardier, which also means they are more resistant. And I think because the flower is a bit more resistant, it's much more difficult to remove the moisture from the flower. And also, because Lady Liberty has staminodes, that means that we were dealing with way more petal-like structures than we normally deal with. So when I was pressing this flower, there were a lot of layers still left. Another thing is peonies generally have a short vase life, and I think by the time I was pressing these peonies, they were already on the downhill turn of their vase life. So there you have it. This is my experience with pressing a peony, and I hope all the things that I shared in this video could help you when you press your peony have a higher chance of pressing well. I don't want to use the word perfect because I don't think perfect pressings exist. I think that sets a very high bar and will leave you mostly disappointed. The way that I approach pressing flowers is a transformation. I don't look for the final pressing to be exactly as how the flower was fresh. I see it as a new chapter to the flower and embrace the transformation that it goes through. And yes, for this peony, there definitely could be improvements, but for now, this is where I'm at. I also hope that my videos show you exactly how labor-intensive flower pressing is. I know a lot of you guys, and there are a lot of business out there that press wedding bouquets, and they are pretty pricey. That's because there is a lot of labor that goes into this art. If possible, I hope you consider financially supporting your favorite pressed flower artist by purchasing their artwork. In my case, even your support of watching this video till the end, giving it a like, and commenting would help so much so that I can get my channel monetized and I could be making a little off of these videos. And that is all for today. Until next time, take care, happy pressing, bye. You might be thinking to yourself, boy, have staminoids. No. Staminoids. No. Staminoids. 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 And staminodes. And that is, they have staminoids. No!